We are live.
Hey, I am Old New Dude, and he is.
Richard York, Asher's trueborn son. And this is Theory Hour, Song of Ice and Fire Theory Hour. And Chris says, Happy Wednesday, everyone.
Yay.
Anything else we need to talk about before I dive back into Mark G 171's version of Lemongate?
On the Dragon Tamer, one of the comments I saw on Preston Jacobs, Quentin's live, is that he was 3 days dying. It's not like he lost his tongue. If you read the next chapter that covers this subject, which is the next Sell Me chapter, the prince laid 3 days dying or something like that. I forget the exact wordings, but it's the prince. It's not Prince Quentin. So the first sentences in the chapters tend to have some weight to it. So if it is the prince, the tattered prince, the prince laid dying, 3 days dying.
Ooh, yeah, he wasn't there though. He was specifically stayed away from that. He sent Kago, the corpse killer, for his place.
So we've been told.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Of course, Tatters has a tendency to travel incognito by just spider moving his cloak. That's true. Deck of Cards says hello.
Hey, Deck of Cards. Also, Selmy mentions that what little he could say was in a gargled voice. Little that he could say.
Yeah.
That he wasn't.
Nobody could recognize his voice. Nobody could recognize his face. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you stop and think about it, Selmy already knows about Pintos. So if in this guy's dying between screaming and he mentions, "I'm a prince," and promised Pintos. If he's going over and over what he was supposed to get from it, that would explain why Selmy knew about Pintos to be ahead of time, and him saying "I'm a prince" or something to that effect.
No, we're not. We're not talking about the World Cup. I don't know where you heard French, but we're talking about the garbled speech of the prince. So maybe that's what you're talking about. Good evening, everyone.
True, but like I said, on this channel, whether we believe it or not, if it helps a theory either we believe,
you like to point out that other people believe. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, and to be clear, Preston doesn't think that Quentin is likely to be alive in. He's writing his own fanfic where he makes him alive because he likes it, but he doesn't think George is likely to keep him alive because there's too many point of views. He's just saying that George has it as more ambiguous than Jon Snow, and George is very clear that he thinks Jon Snow's death is ambiguous, right? He's oh, so you think he's dead, do you? I believe were his exact words when people ask about that.
I mean, for a series written about gray characters, George definitely likes to write white, black, and I mean left, right. I mean yes, no. Every major situation and a lot of the minor ones, until he puts it on paper, and it is a guaranteed.
Well, the 3 days is
not going to get it wrong.
I mean, we're going to get into this on our next chapter, but the 3 days is a Jesus Stoneheart reference. I mean, it's right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anyway. I mean, he says he writes gray characters, but his writing style is not gray. He definitely left all his options open, and I think that's another problem.
You could argue. You could define that as gray. Yeah, we've talked about this. We think it's the weeds of winter is the problem, that he's got to pull too many weeds and he's in love with too many of them.
Right, and the bittersweet ending is that 3/4 of the stuff that he's left open and up for debate and up for theories, we're not going to find out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He likes to leave it. No, as I said, people are still discussing the Book of the New Sun, and it was in the early '80s, and you know, he definitely wants to be the same level of continued discussion of his work, and that doesn't. If you wrap everything up,
arguing on Reddit, which I don't go on Reddit. I went on Reddit one time when I hit a question about my car. It put me on Reddit, and I'm like, nope, never mind. But I mean, people will argue about this stuff till
Yeah, it's not going to be in a neat little bow. That's not
AI
how this
takes
works.
over and subjugates us all. We'll be griping about theories based on these stories.
If you heard the theory about Varys and Littlefinger working together, I'm not 100% on board, but could not be, they could not be enemies like in the show. Yeah, I mean that's sort of implied with Moon Man. So with Moon Man's latest, his Battle of Wind series with Stannis. So it's
Well,
really
I mean,
focused on Littlefinger.
let's stop and think of a major incident that happens in King's Landing that Littlefinger's not in town for, and Varys doesn't show up for. And if Littlefinger is like Tywin, and the less people that know about something to keep it secret, the better. Was it possible that Varys found out through his
I think he
little?
knew what was. I think he knew it
Oh,
was
I know he
coming.
knew. Yeah, he knew, but
He
how?
knew something was coming, right? He has
Right.
spies, and he knew the unrest was that Littlefinger was. He probably knew that Littlefinger's troops were in the city because, I think he would notice that.
Well, I mean, Littlefinger doesn't have troops though. He's got a
The,
couple of
the
guys.
the people that go with him to the Vale are spreading stories about the details of what happened with Tyreek Lannister, and
Mhm.
despite the fact that they left long before that.
But here's the thing: if my theory is correct that there is something magical with Littlefinger involving the three-eyed crow, then those guys don't have to be in King's Landing for them to still spread those rumors. If
Okay,
Littlefinger tells them
sure.
what to
I mean, there's
say.
other. Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just saying one possibility is his spies spot the guards that went with Littlefinger in amongst the crowd. They tell him, and he's like, "Oh, well, I don't want to be there." You know, what I mean?
I mean,
that's one thing that could have happened there.
like I said, people will sit there and debate the truths and the untruths for this story for forever. But
Sure.
if I'm correct, and if there is only 3 people that knew that the riot was going to happen, um, is it legitimately possible that Varys and his little birds found out? And Varys, I know Varys knows, but the question of how he
Yes.
knows.
Yes, that's my point. Is if he's got spies everywhere, if he knows, even if Baelish didn't do anything and Dorcas Varys didn't do anything, he's still likely to understand the level of unrest and the powder kegs there, and not want to put himself at risk
Right.
because he's got spies everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Or working together. I mean,
yeah, no, that's my point. It does.
yeah.
You can interpret that all sorts of different ways. That's my point. Anyway.
That left right it's
Yeah.
wide open.
So anyway, yes, I mean I've definitely watched Moon Man, and he definitely seems to be of the opinion that, well, he actually says, so I've been trying not to do this because I don't want this theory to be how Moon Man thinks people know what's happening. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you, which again, this is not my theory, and this is one of many ways that people could know what's going on. But the thing that I think is most likely how people learned what was going on is that the Kettle Blacks told them what's going on because they served in a sellsword company in the East. So he's like, I mean, what happened is they were told by someone, right? They have spies everywhere. They are always trying to gather information. So you asked me the question of, how would Stannis know, or how would Littlefinger know? My answer is somebody told them. That's the answer, and that's the answer that leads to my videos, because my videos are about this. Is me speaking as Moon Man, not my videos. Anyway, Moon Man says that I do videos. See, Triplets are guys, episodes 1 through 7. Plus,
there you go. I was like, hey, if I'm not going to help you promote your channel, nobody is.
Plus a video about the Book of the Sun and George's mentor, Chief Wolf. Anyway,
that was my only thing. It's an hour-long video. Trust me, I like Moon Man. My favorite part, and it's in a lot of his comments on the videos, is that it's not rehashed HBO scenes or HBO stills of the characters. It's original artwork. I think the guy's name is Carl that did it, which makes me want to put, even though with my thumbs drawing is hard, I want to draw all the pictures for the video that I want to do.
Oh,
And I
nice.
I got to work on my inking a little bit. It's really uh, if drawing is a labored, not touched it in so long, and my hands having a problem. Coloring is going to be new for me, and I have a shaky hand the way I draw, and then I touch up with an eraser to get rid of some of the overlines. It's a sketchy kind of drawing. It doesn't work well when you use ink because you can't take that away unless you take white out to it. I don't know white out the whole damn thing. So I might go from pencils straight to color instead of using any ink at all, except at the after the color to basically trace. I could trace the color and it not be sketchy. I'm working it out in my head how I got to do it. I got picked up some different papers that I want to try.
Well,
But yeah,
you
that's
figure
my
out, you figure out
goal.
what works best. Yeah, you figure out what works
If
best.
I don't want to use somebody else's art, and then nowadays you got so much AI art out there, I want it to be mine. But that was one of the comments. He uses artwork that's done that's based on the books, and that's what I want to do is artwork based on the books for my theory of everything. But
All right. You're
we kind
tired
of
of everything. All right, who are
yeah.
you in American Things?
There you go.
Anyway,
This is how diehard Lord of the Fans rings that we are in this house. The first swords that we bought were for Lord of the Rings. And we got the matching daggers that match the swords that we bought for the movie. And the cat that comes in my bedroom every now and then has knocked everything off in my section. These were covered with a flag, so they got saved. This was on the floor, out of the box. And I'm
I
like,
may have to go. I may have to go revisit an American Thinks now because now I can't even remember what all is in his theory of everything. Anyway,
yeah, I'm having, well, Moon Man even mentions him though.
ah,
It's he started out at the God's Eye is a crater lake made by a meteor or meteor lake, I guess you would, and all the magical dust that came in from the meteorite, which is the same material that Dawn's made from, is the magical gunk in this world that it got spread out throughout the whole planetos, but the majority of it is the island of the God's Eye, and that is what caused the weirwoods to
that's
grow and become
that's the
sentient.
element X as he calls it or something.
Yeah, I think that's what he calls it. It's been a hot minute, and we know my memory sucks,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
that was how he got started. And his might be the Danes are the dawn makes the sword of the morning
Yeah.
telepathic.
Yeah. I kept thinking to myself, this makes a whole lot more sense if John's a Dane. By the way, is that reading the whole?
Yeah, I was thinking.
The whole time I'm listening to, I'm like, this makes much more sense if this is about a Shara Dane and John being a
Well,
Dane. But
the
okay.
reason I like his theory that the only the sword of the morning, only the noblest of knights or whatever that meets all the qualifications and how Stain can wield Dawn is they have to have that X gene to be able to access the powers of Dawn, making them telepathic, meaning that they're not Professor X or anything like that, but they can read, they know their opponent's next moves before the opponent moves, making them even that much better of a sword fighter.
Mm,
Because
mm.
even if uh, Severus and Selmy has, let's say, Dark Sister or Blackfire or Longclaw, he's still not equal to Sir Arthur Dane with Dawn because that's not what George says. George says that
Yeah.
the
If
comparison
it's
we
Arthur
need a
Dane with
sword.
Dawn, then it's no contest. But if they're using the equivalent weapons of each other, then it might be a pretty
Yeah,
fair fight. He says something
he
like
made
that. Yeah.
sure not to make the comparison between Valerian Steel and Dawn, making them
But the
equal. They're not.
implication is that Dawn would be much better. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Darkstar might not have that gene, and him taking Dawn isn't might not work for him. He might lose in his next bout with somebody that's equal to him, just because he can't read that person's mind. But I think Dawn's going to get back in her story somehow. And George said he did not create Dark Star to move Dawn because of there's no 5-year gap, and Ned can't bring the sword north. But I
It's like
do like
it's basically it basically telepathically tells you what people around you are thinking and doing and how they're going to attack and so forth. Deck of cards is
right, yeah,
this is the Un-American Thinks theory.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don
Anyway,
Murphy
you referred to your
power
theory as the theory of everything. You referred to anyway, your theory of everything, and that got me thinking of what was an American Thinks theory of everything, and then we started talking about that. So
the game inside the game inside the game inside the game.
yeah, I know it's a different theory. I'm just saying.
Else too. I'm not knocking Moon Man. He's got a whole lot more subscribers than I do, and his videos are 10 times or 100 times better than mine. They're actually edited really well. I mean, mine are all one take with no visuals other than this face. But he didn't talk about the magical side of what might be going on with.
No, that's not his thing. His thing is talking about his thing, which doesn't mean that he doesn't think there's magic going on. It just means that his focus is on the diplomacy and what's going on with the other characters.
For an hour, the first thing that I would kind of talk about would be, I think, the hidden magic when it comes to Littlefinger. And I've said it before. He gives us the rules.
But that's part of what he says is, I don't care how people are finding out what they're finding out.
Right.
I think the most simple explanation is somebody tells them, and you know, and it might be the Kettle Blacks, since we know that they served in Essos and sellsword companies, right? And so he's like, you know, he's like, well, that's what I think is the most likely, but that's not the theory. The theory is somehow they found out. Yours have their own charms.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I need to hurry up on my game within a game video. I need to. Matter of fact, King Christopher Mudd, when I pick you up today, if I have not drawn or at least sketched out my first picture, you have all my permission, even though it is your name day week and you're the one that's supposed to be getting the beatings to kick me in the rear. I need to get started.
All right, hold your father accountable.
I'm your father. I gave you life. Okay.
Luke, I'm your father. Given to the dark side of force, you knob. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was watching stuff about Star Wars today. It just popped up.
No, I was actually quoting Strange Brew, but anyway, there's a popular book series called Dungeon Crawler Carl, and yeah, exactly. So if you copy that, there's one of the books in that series, their manager looks like he's turned into a Canadian. He looks like that guy from the Honey I Shrunk the Kids movie. And at the end, it's about his unusual brew, or they don't call it strange, but they call it special brew or something like that. And it's like yeah, I see what you're doing here. he keeps saying A at the end of everything and so forth. I'm like, I see what you're doing here. That movie, by the way, is actually Hamlet. That movie is actually Hamlet. So it's Elsinore Castle. It's about, well, actually, it's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, but Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead is Hamlet. So Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead is reimagining Hamlet as the two idiots who are from the perspective of the two idiots in the story. Okay, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, who are the two idiots in Hamlet. So anyway, just trust me. There's this famous play called Hamlet. You never heard of it.
I got you back. Yeah.
And there's two idiots in it named Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and there's this comedy called Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Okay, and it's about the two idiots who are with Hamlet. Well, Hamlet is this character who basically is visited by the ghost of his dead father, who tells him about the plots against him. It takes place in Elsinore Castle. His significant other winds up like basically needing to be in the loony bin, essentially. And basically everybody dies at the end. And so if you watch Strange Brew, that kind of is what happens. Kind of. Kind of it ends after everybody dies. Kind of. It kind of ends that way. Kind of. Anyway, the point is,
King Christopher says it's like Lion King 1.5, where it's Timon and Pumbaa view.
You have to be. It's not like Lion King 1.5, fellow. It's like Lion King 1.5. So anyway, Lion King is actually Richard III, but anyway, but you have to be worthy of Willie Dawn.
through Timon and Pumbaa's point of view. The first movie through
Oh,
Timon and Pumbaa's point
okay.
of view.
Okay, yeah, that's the concept of Resurrection of Guildenstern Dead. And the point is, so this idea of having the two idiots be with Hamlet,
I don't know how
and
you say
Hamlet
those
being
words,
visited.
those names so easily that I can't even understand what the hell you're saying, but it sounds cool when you say it.
Okay, I'm talking about Strange Brew, right?
Right. No, I'm talking about the names that you just said. When you say them, it
Resurrection of
just
Guildenstern Dead. Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, but that's enough digression. I was trying to mention. I thought it was funny that Dungeon Crawler Carl has references to a movie that's actually Hamlet. But you have to be worthy of wielding Dawn, don't you? So logically speaking, anyone taking it would not be worthy of activating Dawn's powers. Yeah.
I think the worthy part of being worthy is you have to be able to if you pick it up.
The reality is it's about
there's
the genes. Okay. Okay.
Right. There's a Conan the Barbarian, Aaron Chan, I think is the name, which was the most famous Conan the Barbarian artist. There is a sword and shield, and this guy's going around saying that he's pure blood Sumerian, and if you're if you're pure blood Sumerian, you can activate these magical powers and the shield and the sword. And he goes to face a dragon, and this guy is up there. He's got the shield and the sword. He goes to activate it, and nothing happens. And then Conan walks up. The guy gets knocked back. He loses the shield. Conan grabs him, takes the sword. He says, "I have to throw you off the cliff because you lost the shield." Throws him to the side. Of course, Conan, strong as all get out, grabs the shield, their sword in both hands, and then you see the light shimmering up the sword, and it splits the dragon fire, and he kills the dragon. The same thing with Dawn. It's you have to be able to access the sword's power to be worthy of wielding it. Now, granted, that in the book of and what we're told is you have to be a knight worthy, and then there's the oil of green hand stuff that would make the knight worthy of being the sword of the morning. That's fine. That's part of it. But even the most worthy of House Dane, if they do not have that ability to access Dawn's abilities, making it glow like milk glass or whatever, if it doesn't ignite the power of the sword, then they can't wield it. It's to stay on the wall until another tries to. I'd laugh if it was in a stone. If they take it back to Starfall and put it down in stone,
Yeah,
that would be
absolutely.
That would be
Sword of Stone.
The dark Black Knight. I mean, just George's favorite character,
Arthur. Well, it's this the Legend of Arthur. You got a character named Arthur, and it's the Legend of Arthur. So
that would be if you can't wield. I mean, if you can't pull the sword out, then you don't have access to powers.
And yes, I know that it's more common, the Lady in the Lake and so forth. But if people have seen Disney, like they understand.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we continue with so that we were talking about Mark G 171 and his famous Danny write up that is sort of the foundation to many people thinking about Lemongate. So
it took me like 10 minutes in the Gee's last video on Lemongate to realize he's wearing the Lemongate shirt. I was like, what? Oh man, I didn't realize it as soon as I hit play. I was like, man, it could be a couple days.
Going to wear the Lemongate shirt for Lemongate.
Yeah, man.
Anyway.
I'm an idiot. What can I say? I'm one of those guys that they made the play about the play of me watching the play. Ugh. I'm Hamlet's idiot friend.
If you recall what I said in reference to Milk Brothers in real history, with some cultures even passing on inheritance to them, so it could play to John and the Danes. Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, either John's a real Dane by blood or by Milk Brother, meaning that genetic material
or both, so that George can create like symbolism and so forth. Anyway,
well, I mean, like I said, I give shout outs even if it's some. I like that. I like that.
Well, and I like that a lot better than people who say. I like that a lot better than people being like, well, based on the incest and so forth, the Dane blood really hasn't been diluted very much in the Targaryens because we can look back at the family tree and see that they have all this incest, so that Dane blood really is relatively fresh. It's like, yeah, that's not how symbolism works.
Well, I mean, we don't have Dane's family tree.
We have Targaryens trees, and we know they come from Dane. And then we know that they don't have very many branches after that. That's the point. So if you're marrying brother to sister, brother to sister, brother to sister, brother to sister after the Dane marriage, then you've got that's the argument is that you've got like something like one quarter Dane or 1/8 Dane in R plus L because of all the Targaryen to Targaryen to Targaryen to Targaryen to Targaryen to Targaryen, and then you've got the right. So anyway, but my point is, if you're having to look back at the family tree to make up this idea, so the Dane blood is actually reasonably recent if you count all the if you ignore the fact that they keep marrying each other, and so that's the LML argument, and I'm like, yeah, that's not how symbolism works.
Oh man, wouldn't it be awesome that our secret Targaryens, Jamie, the reason he is as good as he is and idolizes Sir Arthur Dane is the Dane blood in him because he's half Targaryen?
Okay, yeah. There's no lemon tree. It's a golden bloodline family tree. Well, and it's also a reference to first off, the lemon tree is a reference to Peter, Paul, and Mary, but the and other songs, you would complain that we're missing other. I can't remember what the song is that he uses, but it's but he uses a song that's literally about a lemon tree outside my window, right? But the Stark poem, but we know definitively that when George was creating the series and naming the series, he was thinking of Robert Frost, and we know because of Fire and Ice, and we know that Robert Frost has a poem about House Stark and its family tree, right? And so, what are the odds that a guy who's writing a book series, thinking about Robert Frost with House Stark and family trees, isn't thinking about a family tree, right? So it's definitely also that at a minimum, Kirsty.
Okay, I'm going to sound like the worst YouTube theorist ever. What poem about Stark?
Oh, no, nobody knows this poem. It's lots of them don't know this.
Like the sidekick idiot there again for a second.
No. Nobody knows this poem. It's an obscure Robert Frost House Stark tree poem.
Well, last time I talked to you, he didn't tell me about it.
No, it's the wrong one. I should have left off this. I should have left off the tree because it gives too many tree poems that he wrote. House Stark Robert Frost poem. No, it's not Ghost House. I keep not going to Google, and that's my mistake.
You did it last time.
I did. Robert Frost poem about House Stark and incest. Oh, he did absolutely write a poem about House Stark and incest, you idiots.
What are you talking to me?
Google.
I was kidding.
I wonder if I have any references to it in my Google Keep. Probably do. Let me type Robert Frost in and see what I come up with.
All right, let's see. Yes, and Dany is the only character in text who specifically refers to her golden blood. Did I miss one that came before that?
Shit. No, that's all right. I already did that one. I did the one right before that. Okay. That's what. I thought I might have had a note on it, but I guess I don't.
Who had the golden dragon?
Robert Frost. Stark returns.
In the
family reunion.
Oh wait, that was the Aegon.
Stark family reunion. The
Well,
Generations
anything
of Men, the Stark family reunion. That's it. Generations of Men. That's what I want. Okay, the Generations of Men. All right, should we read this poem? We're
How long
digressing
is
a lot. It's not that long. I mean, it might take up the other half. We might take up the whole half hour though.
fine. This is these are the live streams I love the best. Okay.
When we diverge and do completely different things.
Yep. You
The
know me. I hate it.
Generations of Men by Robert Frost. All right, and Preston's covered this, and with all his discussion and reading of the poem, I think it only took 45 minutes. So it's like the first 45 minutes of one of his live streams. Generations of Men. A governor was proclaimed. This is the story of House Stark's family reunion and the tree, and how there's just a crater where their house used to be, and how and how you can see the past in the tree, and how all the 7 families came out of the holes to and like this is all in there. I'm not and incest makes people go mad, and like
Everything.
Like it's got a lot. Anyway,
He's
Robert Frost, The Generations of Men. Robert Frost, The Generations of Men. And as we say, we know he knows Robert Frost because he specifically said it's named after Fire and Ice, right, which is a Robert Frost poem. Robert Frost, The Generations of Men. And as I said, this is about a family reunion of House Stark and how everybody brags about how much Stark blood they have and so forth. Anyway, a governor was proclaimed this time when all who would come seeking in New Hampshire ancestral memories might come together. And those of the name Stark gathered in Bow, a rock-strewn town where farming has fallen off. So Bow is in capitals, it's a town. And sprout lands flourish where the axe has gone. And I don't know if it's pronounced Bow or Bow, but because those words are pronounced differently, but anyway. Someone had literally run to earth in an old cellar hole in a by road, the origin of all the family there. Thence they were sprung, so numerous a tribe that now not all the houses left in town made shift to shelter them without the help of here and there a tent and grove and orchard. So this is what we're saying is that when the house family reunion happens, it's such a big deal that they can't even, the town can't even put everybody up, right?
Right.
They were at Bow, but that was not enough. Nothing would do, but they must fix a day to stand together on the crater's verge that turned them on the world and try to fathom the past and get some strangeness out of it. But rain spoiled all. The day began uncertain, with clouds low trailing and moments of rain that misted. The young folk held some hope out to each other till well toward noon, when the storm settled down with a swish in the grass. What if the others are there? Yes, what if the others are there? They said. What if the others are there? Anyway, they said, it isn't going to rain. Only one from a farm not far away strolled thither, not expecting he would find anyone else but out of idleness. One and one other, yes, for there were 2. The second round the curving hillside road was a girl, and she halted some way off to reconnoiter, and then made up her mind, at least to pass by and see who he was, and perhaps hear some word about the weather. This was some Stark she didn't know. Of course, that's with the capital S, because it's about how Stark. He nodded. No fete today, he said. So a fete is an outdoor party, right? It looks that way. She swept the heavens, turning on her heel. I only idled down. Idled down. Provision there had been for just such meeting, of stranger cousins in a family tree drawn on a sort of passport with the branch of the one bearing it done in detail, some zealous one's laborious device. She made a sudden movement toward her bodice, as one who clasps her heart. They laughed together. Stark? He inquired. No matter for the proof. Yes, Stark. And you? I'm Stark. He drew his passport. So they all have these official credentials that show where they are in the Stark family tree.
Okay.
Anyway. We might not be and still be cousins. The town is full of chases, lows, and baileys, all claiming some priority in Starkness. My mother was Elaine, yet might have married anyone upon earth, and still her children would have been Starks, and doubtless here today. You riddle with your genealogy, like a viola. I don't follow you. I only mean my mother was a Stark, several times over, and by marrying father, no more than brought us back into the name. Well, not to be thrown into confusion by a plain statement of relationship, but I own what you say makes my but I own what you say makes my head spin. You take my card, you seem so good at such things, and see if you can reckon our cousinship. Why not take seats here on the cellar wall and dangle feet among the raspberry vines, under the shelter of the family tree? Just so. Just so. That's literally what it says. Just so. That ought to be enough protection. Not for the rain. I think it's going to rain. It's raining. No, it's misting. Let's be fair. Does the rain seem to you to cool the eyes? The situation was like this. The road bowed outward on the mountain halfway up and disappeared and ended not far off. No one went home that way. The only house beyond where they were was a shattered seed pod, and below roared a brook hidden in trees, the sound of which was silence for the place. This he sat listening to till she gave judgment. On father's side, it seems let me see. Don't be too technical. You have 3 cards. 4 cards. 1 yours, 3 mine. 1 for each branch of the Stark family I'm a member of. Do you know a person so related to herself is supposed to be mad? Oh, sorry, he says that. Do you know a person so related to herself is supposed to be mad? I may be mad. You look so, sitting out here in the rain, studying genealogy with me, you never saw before. What will we come to with all this pride of ancestry, we Yankees? I think we're all mad. Tell me why we're here, drawn into town about this cellar hole like wild geese on a lake before a storm. What do we see in such a hole, I wonder? The Indians had a myth of Chickamaustock, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, which means the 7 caves that we came out of. This is the pit from which we Starks were digged. Oh, shoot. I accidentally hit the right arrow and it jumped over to the other poem, and now I got to go find my spot again. Good, I'm back. I typed Chickamaustock to find where it was.
There you go.
Anyway, the 7 caves that we came out of. This is the pit from which we Starks were digged. You must be learned. That's what you see in it? And what do you see? Yes, what do I see? First, let me look. I see raspberry vines. Oh, if you're going to use your eyes, just here. Sorry, if you're going to use your eyes, just hear what I see. It's a little boy, as pale and dim as a match flame in the sun. He's groping in the cellar after jam. He thinks it's dark and it's flooded with daylight. He's nothing. Listen, when I lean like this, I can make out old Grandsir Stark distinctly, with his pipe in his mouth and his brown jug. Bless you, it isn't Grandsir Stark, it's Granny. But the pipe's there and smoking and the jug. She's after a cider, the old girl. She's thirsty. Here's hoping she gets her drink and gets out safely. Tell me about her. Does she look like me? She should, shouldn't she? You're so many times over descended from her. I believe she does look like you. Stay the way you are. The nose is just the same, and so's the chin. Making due allowance. You poor dear. Great granny. See that you get her greatness right. Don't stint her. Yes, it's important, though you think it isn't. I won't be teased, but see how wet I am. Yes, you must go. We can't stay here forever. But wait until I give you a hand up. A bead of silver water, more or less, strung on your hair, won't hurt your summer looks. I wanted to try something with the noise that the brook raises in the empty valley. We've seen visions. Now consult the voices. They're seeing visions. They're talking about the Stark family tree and its history. Anyway, something I must have learned riding in trains when I was young. I used the roar to set the voices speaking out of it, speaking or singing, and the band music playing. Perhaps you have the art of what I mean. I've never listened in among the sounds that a brook makes in such a wild descent. It ought to give a purer oracle. Isn't that interesting? He thinks listening to God speak gives you an oracle, basically.
Right.
It's as you throw a picture on a screen. The meaning of it all is out of view. The voices give you what you wish to hear. Okay. The idea that, hey, Mother Roy.
Hey, kind of like Melisandre seeing kind of what she wants to see.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. I forget who's speaking next because I lost track where it was. But anyway, one of them says, strangely, it's anything they wish to give. Then I don't know. It must be strange enough. I wonder if it's not your make-believe. What do you think you're like to hear today? I need to go through this sometime and write down this is the Stark girl, this is the Stark boy, this is the Stark girl, this is the Stark boy, so I can keep it straight. So sorry I didn't do that. So anyway.
We didn't know we were going to do this today.
No idea. You can see why I think this poem is kind of important, though.
Yeah.
And full credit to Preston Jacobs and his stream on this. This is where I learned it from.
I had to. Oh, I get a pencil. Go ahead. I'm gonna write that down to try to see if I can find.
The Generations of Men by Robert Frost.
Yeah. No, I was talking about the Preston Jacobs.
Yeah. No, my point is that if you're trying to search for it, you're searching for The Generations of Men by Robert Frost. So it might be that if you went to Google and type Preston Jacobs, The Generation of Men by Robert Frost, maybe it'll come up. I don't know.
All right.
Pardon me.
No, you're fine.
Then I don't know. It must be strange enough. I wonder if it's not your make-believe. What do you think you're like to hear today? In the sense of our having been together, but why take time for what I'm like to hear? I'll tell you what the voices really say. You will do very well right where you are, a little longer. I mustn't feel too hurried, or I can't give myself to hear the voices. Is this some trance you are withdrawing into? You must be very still. You mustn't talk. I'll hardly breathe. The voices seem to say, I'm waiting. Don't. The voices seem to say, call her Naasaka, the unafraid of an acquaintance made adventurously. I let you say that on consideration. I don't see very well how you can help it. You want the truth. I speak but by the voices. You see, they know I haven't had your name, though what a name should matter between us. I shall suspect. Be good, the voices say. Call her Nausicaa, and take a timber that you shall find lies in the cellar charred among the raspberries, and hew and shape it for a door sill or other corner piece in a new cottage on the ancient spot. The life is not yet all gone out of it. And come and make your summer dwelling here, and perhaps she will come, still unafraid, and sit before you in the open door with flowers in her lap until they fade, but not come in across the sacred sill. Wonder where your oracle is tending. You can see that there's something wrong with it, or it would speak in dialect. Whose voice does it purport to speak in? Not old grandsir's nor granny's, surely. Call up one of them. They have best right to be heard in this place. You seem so partial to our great-grandmother, 9 times removed. Correct me if I err. You'll be likely to regard as sacred anything she may say. But let me warn you, folks in her day were given to plain speaking. You think you'd best tempt her at such a time? It rests with us always to cut her off. Well, then it's Granny speaking. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong to take it as I do. There ain't no names quite like the old ones, though, nor never will be, to my way of thinking. One mustn't bear too hard on the newcomers, but there's a dite too many of them for comfort. I should feel easier if I could see more of the salt therewith there to be salted. Son, you do as you're told. You take the timber. It's as sound as the day when it was cut, and begin over. There she'd better stop. You can see what is troubling Granny, though. But don't you think we sometimes make too much of the old stock? What counts is the ideals, and those will bear some keeping still about. I can see we're going to be good friends. I like your going to be. You said just now it's going to rain. I know, and it was raining. I let you say all that, but I must go now. You let me say it on consideration? How shall we say goodbye in such a case? How shall we? Will you leave the way to me? No, I don't trust your eyes. You've said enough. Now give me your hand up. Pick me that flower. Where shall we meet again? Nowhere but here. Once more before we meet elsewhere. In rain? It ought to be in rain. Sometime in rain. In rain tomorrow, shall we, if it rains? But if we must, in sunshine. So she went.
All right, the flowers in the lap until they fade made me think of the Vienna.
Oh, yeah.
But in the when they fade in the story, they turn black.
But don't you think we sometimes make too much of the old stock? What counts is the ideals, and those will bear some keeping still about. The idea that what matters is the ideals, not the blood.
Okay. In a non-magical story, I agree 100%. But in a magical story, the blood is.
The ideals of the Stark are what's of House Stark are what's actually important, is what they're saying.
So there must always be a Stark in Winterfell. It must be the ideas of House Stark that must be in Winterfell.
Could be. Anyway, it's also.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, there's definitely a lot in there about incest and madness and taking pride and being descended from those with the original ideals and looking at the smoldering cellar of where their house used to be.
What about wood being as good now as the day it was cut?
Yeah, that's the timber, I think was the word, right?
It might be timber.
Be good, the voices say. Call her Nausicaa, and take a timber that you shall find lies in the cellar charred among the raspberries, and hew and shape it for a door sill or another corner piece in a new cottage on the ancient spot. Do as you're told. You take the timber. It's as sound as the day when it was cut, which is weird because they just said it was charred.
It's still, yeah. I don't know. That made me think of the weirwoods.
And begin over. Well, it's this idea that you should build a house with at least some of the original timber on the spot. That's what they're saying, right?
Right.
The origin of House Stark. They should take some of the original structure and rebuild.
Okay.
Anyway. It seems pretty clear that there's a reason he chose. I mean, I like some of LML's ideas of why you could be choosing Stark and Dane and how the two words work together and so forth. But the Stark that brings the dawn was his original discussion of that. But man, there's
what he was going to
so much stuff in there. Oh yeah, he talks about Darkstain and Daystar and how that so if you just drop the last consonant sound from each of them, you can form Daystar. If you do the spoonerism, a spoonerism is when you take the front consonants and swap them right at the beginning of a word and swap it.
Sometimes reminds me of that it's not king's blood, it's kin's blood. It was a theory that I read on a Gray Area's comment section talking about that it's Lyanna and Benjen's blood. It's Stark, making Jon even the Starkiest Stark.
Or it's not the heart of a fallen star that's in Dawn. It's the heart of a fallen Stark that's in Dawn.
Okay.
That Nissa was a Stark. This Nissa was a Stark idea.
Well, I mean that plays into the telephone game or whatever that thing's called. Is that there's over time, especially when stuff was before things were written, or the things that were written back then, just like the Sam says that if it's not redone, we lose that the pages are crumbling and all that kind of stuff. So even if there was a written language in Starfall at the time, there's no guarantee that information would have made it thousands of years. So the missing letter plays into that. Okay, there's some truth to what they're saying, but you got to look for the truth. And okay, I like that. You've said that before because it sounded familiar.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, man, we know my memory sucks. But I get there's a little nugget in something that's said, and then there's a teeny tiny little light bulb sometimes.
Good.
But sometimes
it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's there somewhere. It's
yeah. I told you that my mother has all the criteria of Alzheimer's, but sometimes I'll be talking to her about something in the past, and she's like, "Oh, I don't remember that," and then a little while later, she's like, "Oh yeah, it's in there. It's in there." She has trouble retrieving it, but it's in there. I've even had her be like, "Oh, that thing you mentioned 5 minutes ago? It was actually this," and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Where was Jonquil from? We get so little information about. I'm tempted to say the fountain that Jaime and Brienne
Yeah, that's at main pool's where they meet. The pool at main pool's where they meet.
Florian. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So yeah, that's the best guess we have. I think is Maiden Pool.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it part of the song? The seven. It's not seven maids of milk or anything like that, but I mean.
Oh yeah, yeah. Your point is that they mentioned that there's a song associated with it. That's probably true.
Yeah. I don't think we get all the words, but we get some of it, I believe.
Maiden Pool. I tried to Maiden Pool.
I
Maiden
know
Pool
Jamie
song.
might say some of the words, but
Search of Ice and Fire.
type in type in maiden pool
Maiden
and
Pool. Okay, Maiden Pool first comes up in Jamie 2 and A Storm of Swords. That Maiden Pool. Okay, then I'll search within this first song. 6 maids there were in a spring-fed pool.
6, 7. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. 6
That was from
maids.
a
All right,
dog.
let's get to that line there. What are you doing? Brienne demanded. Singing 6 maids in a pool. I'm sure you've heard it. And shy little maids they were too, rather like you, though somewhat prettier. I'll warrant. Be quiet, the wench said. Anyway.
Yeah. But they're. I mean, I know George is not the gardener; he's the thief. But he damn sure could write characters, though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And the line about good artists borrow, great artists steal, or however that line goes. That's that. The point of that is that if you do it so well that you're the one who's remembered, that everybody is building on all the works that came before them and learning from watching how others do things and so forth. And and if you get to the point where your work is so good that the ideas that you're building upon get more associated with you than with them, then you are the great master or whatever, great artist or whatever is good
How
artists.
many struggling writers out there? How many POV driven novels are being written because of
Uh,
George R. R. Martin?
so people perhaps falsely attribute this to Picasso, this great good artist copy, great artist steal. T.S. Eliot wrote in 1920, "Immature poets imitate, mature poets steal." So, but anyway, the whole point is that yeah, that what was John Quill's story? Well, we don't really have it.
Yeah,
Lorian.
I think we get bits and pieces, but not enough to even form the story
Yeah.
behind it.
Legendary figures, age of heroes. Lancelot and Guinevere. Florian was a courtful and a great knight, not of noble birth, a suit of iron motley armor, according to Westeros.org. He first saw John Quill, a fair maiden, bathing with her sisters in Sweetwater Pool that later became the port town of Maidenpool. Smitten, he resolved to become a knight to win her love. John Quill's Pool and John Quill's Tower in Maidenpool are said to have healing properties. The romance is immortalized in songs such as Maids in a Pool. Scholars doubt this is based on real people. Cultural impact, though of course it probably is, right?
Yeah.
Or at least George wants there to be a possibility that there was this is a true story.
What do you think about the theory that all the songs and the past stories that we hear about are the stories that were happening now?
Oh yeah, of course. They're all supposed to be echoes of the past and so forth, right?
But the past is the present, the I don't know, something that time traveling brand takes the stories that are happening now to the past and tells them then, and those are the I don't know. I couldn't even
Yeah.
Finish the
So
thought.
anyway, it never really tells us what happens. Although there wasn't there one in didn't the A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms give us more than any of this? I feel like A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms may have given us a lot more of Florian the Fool than this stuff here.
Yeah, but is that George or is that Knight of Seven Kingdoms?
Well, he's still working closely with them.
Yeah, they're the
What's
ones that
the
haven't pissed him off yet.
what's the yeah, right, they're the ones that haven't pissed him off yet. Well, and to be clear, there's this what's the name of, is it Ty George R, of course I'm back on Bing, so this is gonna be useless, but George R. Martin, assistant writing for Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. It's like Ty Nichols or something. What's her name?
Oh,
She's getting better and better credits as things go on, but she's involved with basically all of them.
oh.
What is her name? No, I don't watch George R. R. Martin's role. I want to know.
I left my tablet, so I can't help.
This is like, again, this is my fault for not going to Google right away because Bing is so useless. Anyway, what is the name of George R. R. Martin's assistant that writes for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms?
If you type as fast as you talk, you're like way faster than me.
Yeah. T. Mickle, that's it. Ty Mickle, whatever, however you pronounce that. Probably Ty or T. Mickle. I'm not sure.
Is it TY?
Anyway, it's T.I.
Oh,
and then it's Mikkel. And I think they keep giving her.
Really wanted to get on George's good side, it'd have been TY.
She changed her name to T.Y. Anyway, she's the one who, if he's getting inside information about these things, it's probably from her. So he still has her as one of the top staff for House of the Dragon. So he still knows what's going on.
Yeah. Like I say, man, the books, the show's the show.
Sarah, I was way off. No, it's T. Nickel. I hope not. Some of the hate on Sarah Hess has been, yeah. Well, so is T. Nickel's still one of the writers on House of the Dragon. I'm pretty sure.
Other than the ending of A Knight of Seven Kingdoms, which I don't know. Like I said, that unless Bloodraven goes to Maegor and say, "Oh no, it's going to be okay," I trust me, I'm keeping an eye on him. How can Dunk and Egg make it to Dorne when there should be the whole Seven Kingdoms looking for him? Unless they're like, "Oh no, we got to keep it a secret. We don't want nobody to know there's a hidden Targaryen out there that they can capture and use against us with all the Blackfire stuff going on."
So the story editor, she's the story editor for seasons 2 and 3 of House of the Dragon.
I still haven't watched this last episode. I don't know why. Something.
She wrote. She's credited as the main written for television by on episode 6 of season 2, Regent.
Okay.
And of course, she's one of the producers. Anyway.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, you get producing credits for. What's it say?
The name Jonquil ties into Reed. That's interesting.
I did not know that. How's it tie in? I just thought of NyQuil, but that has nothing to do with House Reed. It's nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever, so you can rest medicine.
Apparently, there's people named Jonquil now. Who are like, there's an actor named Jonquil Good. There's a Somebody named their daughter John Quill. Somebody named Jackie Stiegel. I don't know who these people are. Anyway, I enjoyed the episode. It was different, that's for sure. I don't know.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, it's definitely different. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, let's wrap up. We didn't do any of Lemon Gate.
Sorry, you wore the shirt for nothing.
You get to see how the high tires how the high towers work. Says just for mud.
Okay. What is our next chapter?
Queen's Hand.
Queen's Hand. Why do I
Yep.
got it marked different now?
What else would it be?
Oh no, I had it marked on a John. I mean, what? I'm like, we already finished that. Okay, there it is. All right, scared me there for a second. All right, Friday's Queen's Hand. Thank y'all for joining us. I have fun. I like the unscripted. I like the
it was interesting. And the fact that whether or not we'd already talked about Generations of Men, it's definitely worth talking about.
Yeah, I think we have, but this is a new one on me. I'm gonna probably listen to Preston's take on that while I'm working on my art. But when I do art, I look like a monkey doing a math problem. So I don't know how much I'll pay attention to the video or to the art, but we'll see. But thank y'all for joining.
So Kirsty says John Quill is it is an English word that refers to like a flower, right? But anyway, it's entered English in the 1600s. She said from the Spanish, which means reed, and then has Latin root. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Kirsty. Always with the knowledge. But we appreciate it. Hopefully we see you back here Friday. Y'all have fun. Take care and bye. Bye, Richard.
Have a good one.